right, Luka Nation, episode 876 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. So now you guys know we have a variety of different content. You guys could go check out the PWCC recap with Cajun. You guys could go back and listen to the preview Cajun did on Saturday. We have an exciting new series dropping tomorrow. It's
I'm excited.
I'm
excited about it.
It's much more collector driven. A longtime listener reached out to us and said, "Hey, I love interviewing. I've been in front of the camera for a large part of my life. That stage is behind me. I know how that sounds, but I want to go into hosting. I love doing this. I'd love to do a 10-part, 15-part series on collecting." It went better than expected. So the first episode is going live tomorrow. We think you guys are going to absolutely love it. And then on Wednesday, you guys have a dealer's outlook, Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged. So a bunch of content going live. Every flavor of the week. If you like pistachio ice cream, we got that. If you got like strawberry ice cream, that, cookies and cream. Today might be a rocky road type of show because I have a bone to pick with myself and with the hobby. So it's up to you, Cage, whichever one you want me to start with.
I want the bone to pick. I want the bone to pick with a hobby. That's my favorite. Give me the bone to pick with a hobby. Because, I mean, that's going to start it off and set the tone for the whole thing.
We had Mark Mader on. We talked about John F. Kennedy. And one
Back
thing
to the left. No one got that.
No one, dude.
No one got it.
Well, what did JFK say? Ask not what this country could do for you. Ask what you could do for this country. You motherfuckers are the problem with the hobby. Now, I know that we're going to lose fans. People are going to be pissed in the comments. But it's every one of you listeners, you participants, that's responsible for making this hobby a better place. I'll give you an example. We're running these hobby awards. Problem number one, you guys don't read shit. Obviously, in a little square tile, we can't fully encapsulate every amazing content creator, business, influencer, vlogger, breaker, everybody in one little square. So we put tag your favorite person at the bottom. Do you know out of 500 messages how many complaints have come? Why is this person not on? Ow, this hurts. Why was I not included? Ouch, ouch, ouch. Do you know how many people in the comments, Cage, have taken the time to say, hey, I love this person and here's why? What's the point of these hobby awards in the first place? It's not so you could have a Grammy, give your Chris Rock speech, and someone virtually slaps you like Will Smith. That's not the point. The point is networking so that there's discovery, so that you might be watching Roth Cards and you check out Card Collector 2.
I like it.
Why don't you guys use this opportunity to praise, give flowers, say, hey, this is something I love about Too Thick Pod. They keep it light and jokey. In a time like this, when the market's going down, I love Reckless and Manny and how they're able to keep it light and fun. That's what the hobby needs at this time. Zero comments like that.
No.
Why was this person not included? I don't know, man. A million reasons. And that's my bone to pick with you guys. You guys want to build a better hobby. You put all this responsibility and accountability on the big businesses, which you rightfully do so, but you don't hold yourself to those same standards. And that's my frustration.
Listen, I like it. But you know what? I mean, I don't have a problem with people saying, why don't you include me? I mean, we're asking them, hey, who are we leaving out, right? We're asking them to make sure that, that the right people are included and the right numbers and the whole deal. So, I mean, we're making sure. For me, thank you very much.
Of course you don't have a problem with it. You don't read the comments.
I do read
You just say, hey, this is a good idea. Run with it. Go get him, Andrew. Actually, and then
my idea,
notifications. I don't want to see these comments. I don't even care.
No, it's not.
I'm going to go get smashed at my holiday party and stay up until 5:30
But we're on here telling people, hey, if we leave somebody out, let us know. So I do read the comments. The one that I would have sort of an issue with is people saying, well, what about me? What about Raven? What about me? You left me out. That would be a problem to me. Those comments I don't like because if don't lobby for yourself. If you're really an omission, there'll be other people out there who you're making happy, who you're doing vlogs for, you're doing breaks for, who'll be saying that there was an omission. The hobby omission was, hey, this is who I use. And the fun part about it is, let me go on record here and say this, because this isn't a bone I have to pick with the hobby. what I learned from these things is that the hobby is way more expansive than even we know in our own little world. And, it's easy to see that. I mean, you have people like, Ryan and Jeff Wilson and, Card Ladder and Card Porn and all these guys that have 100,000, followers on their accounts. Let's not go down a rabbit hole that you think they're paid for. I don't care. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people out there with a lot more followers than us. And when I see this stuff, what's great is we bounce the topics off of our team. And they're like, all right, here's the nominees for tomorrow's category. And they'll throw like 12 names out. And I'll be sitting there going, I only know 7 of these people. And someone will explain to me, okay, that's this guy. This is what he does and blah, blah, blah. So I view it differently. I view it as it's eye-opening. Sure, there's comments out there. You don't want people whining at you that we did it wrong. I don't think we did it wrong. I think when people are adding more names or people are trying to, make a comment and say, hey, what about this one? Or what about me? That's good. That's good for the hobby because here we are now, a centralized spot that everyone can look at and say, okay, I didn't know the people in their categories. And then as you get into the comments, there's even more people. Like, I wouldn't take it personally, man. Just don't think of it a better way. You used to be the guy who came into these things optimistic, glass half full. Now you see the glass half empty. You kick the glass over, you break the glass, you throw it out the window, and someone steps on it. It's terrible. I want you to be optimistic, Andrew, again. I
don't see the optimism. We have Dave's Cards, who's like the biggest fanboy for slab stocks ever. Like, someone hurt slab stocks' feelings, and Dave's Cards now feels the personal need to protect slab stocks. Bagels and Wax and Bro Name.
I mean, that's his boy,
they have an alliance like I've never seen before. Are
it's
they
like
best
Richard
friends?
Hatch. It's like the first Survivor. We didn't know there were alliances, but there were.
And there's these lines in the sand. There's all of these alliances that it's like, it's not Democrats, Republicans. It's like they do it in Israel, right? There's like 32 parties, and we don't even like each other. And
well, we all like each other, though. I like everyone, and they like you, and they like this little fire. They like this little fire that you come out with every now and again too. It's okay, you're allowed to have some fire. You're allowed to be angry. This can be a pet peeve of yours.
I'm frustrated by the participants of the hobby where they make things about themselves as opposed to make things about the community when they say that they're really about the community.
All right. Listen, that is fair. And I'm not going to come on here and tell you can't do that, right? I mean, I think maybe the easiest formula is you can try to help the hobby out by making yourself more important in the hobby.
Sure. But then people have problems with the fact that we get sponsors. People are upset that we get paid to do this show. Think about that. We've never taken dollars from you guys. If you want to listen to the show for free, listen to the show for free. If you have questions, reach out. If you think we could do something or make an introduction, we'll do that. But all of a sudden, now being sponsored by X means what? Means literally what?
I don't know. It means we're taking money from X. I don't know. I honestly, listen, this is my favorite thing. These awards, it gets everybody talking. It even gets you talking. Look at you. It gets the fire lit. It gets the people going. And yeah, what we know when we do this stuff is that there's going to be engagement, which is good, but there's going to be some negativity. There's going to be people who are, who are taking shots. There's going to be people who say we did it wrong. But that is one of my favorite movies is History of the World Part 1. There never was a Part 2, by the way. That's the joke. History of the World Part 1. It's a Mel Brooks movie. Mel Brooks is a genius comedian. And he's talking about like the dawn of time. And there are cavemen, right? And cavemen are in they're in the cave and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're inventing fire. And then finally one of them picks up something and starts drawing on the wall. And it's the birth of an artist. And he does this whole thing about how art is born. And he's drawing like a woolly mammoth, a caveman drawing on the wall. And immediately, as soon as the artist is born, Mel Brooks has another caveman stand up and says, and with the birth of the first artist comes the birth of, and a caveman starts pissing on the drawing on the wall. And it goes all up the walls. After the birth of the first artist, immediately becomes the birth of the first critic. You still see it here. It's as true today, right? We come out here and do a little content every single day. We're the ones putting up these topics. We're having some fun with it. We're trying to make some content for the hobby community. It's inevitable that the comments are going to be like, you guys did it wrong. Well, why didn't you do it? Like, you didn't do it. You do it then. So I'm with you, man. I understand it, but it's what do they say? Water up a duck. You know, it is what it is, man. Like, you can't do this stuff without expecting
water over the bridge.
No, water off a duck.
Water under the bridge.
It's water under a bridge. Water goes over a bridge, you're in trouble.
What percentage? Like, critic to
10%, 15%, 50%. I mean, listen, when things are polarized, you see it in politics. When things are polarized, if you put something out there, half the people are going to love it, half the people are going to hate it. I hope the hobby doesn't get like that, because people come to the hobby to kind of escape that. But we've already seen it: collector versus investor, battle lines drawn, alliances across different, platforms of businesses. Yeah,
but they make no compelling argument. So, like, I read the comments.
Give me the best one. Give me like a paraphrase best one.
No, I haven't learned anything. So they're like, why would you leave this person off? Ooh.
What? So
why would you leave this person off, right? As opposed to saying, this person does X fantastic. This person does this really well, right? And now someone comes to the content page and they're like, wow, I could discover. I never knew about Too Thick Pod. They're really lighted and funny. Wow, Neo Comics, they talk about this. Wax Museum podcast. He's been in the hobby before COVID, and he does amazing deep dive topics. So you come to the end, you're like, oh, this is cool. I could discover new channels, new players in the space. Versus you go here and you're like, what am I even going to learn from this? Okay, so you're the best podcast in the hobby. Mazel tov.
Well, we left ourselves out. If the category is the second best podcast. But
Vadim didn't like that. He's like, we're voting for second best podcast?
Well, I mean,
it's a joke, Vadim.
It is.
Obviously, we are the podcast. We made the Hobby Awards. It's a joke.
Right. We're number one. It's basically just saying we're number one. You guys can all compete for number two. In case that joke was missed. That's, so we'll have to explain better. And guys, listen, the topics, the awards, all this fun stuff, it's kind of like, it's non-scientific, it's like, all right, and this is why before we started this, we were like, send us your messages now, and we can, we'll take them into account, right? If there's somebody, but instead no one sends it ahead of time. It's very easy to critique after the fact. You don't send the message and say, a couple of people sent us some stuff, and make sure you include these people.
Best hobby vlogger. Where's Shyway Vlogs? Shyway Vlogs is a parody account of vlogging. Why would we include him in the best vlog? He
also really hasn't vlogged this year, about cards. I love him, and I wish he does more content. So, guys, what do we have? 12 vloggers on there?
We have Santiago Sports off.
But Santiago Sports will be in the best hobby, shop category, like best hobby store. It'll be best LCS. There are reasons why, if you're gonna, limit the categories to 12, we can't put every single vlogger in, especially ones that'll probably be in other categories. I'm sure Shyway will make his way into another category. Best hobby pilgrimage. It's gonna be there. Hobby. You can laugh. It's allowed.
We made a special category called hobby personality we want to hear more from in 2023. Mm-hmm.
For him.
There's no grace. There's no benefit of the doubt. There's jump down your throat. And it's just stupid, man. It's just stupid. And the bone to pick with me is what frustrates me. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like, I was right about Patrick Mahomes. In the beginning of the season. But Jalen Hurts was the right buy.
Yes.
I was right about Gio Reyna and the USA team problems, right?
And Jamar Chase.
I understand.
But Justin Jefferson was the right buy. You were right. You were right about a lot of stuff.
And my frustration, it was like, okay, so 90% of traders lose money. Why? Well, now I know why. Because I believe I know sport, but I don't know the hobby. And I can't build the bridge from I understand sports to I understand how to make the right buys in the hobby. And there's a tremendous amount of frustration that lies there as this beginner. It's like, what am I missing?
Is it a hobby education page? Is it is Instagram more mean? Is it Facebook groups that are helping people, along? I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is. I think maybe what you're missing is the community that you had when everybody was making money, and everybody misses that. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's a little tougher now. Maybe you get a combination of people who are bleeding a bit, combined with the fact that the content that seems to stick when it's that kind of market is that biting, negative, nitpicky type of content that's out there. that I don't think really adds much value to anything. But you see it even bleeding into the comments, right? And maybe that's your frustration. You know, you put something out there, and I mean, what do we gain from this? This is not something we're being paid to do, right? No sponsor is saying, hey, by the way, do a hobby award and make sure you pick the right one. No, if Ken Golden wins Best Auction House, he's going to win Best Auction House. I mean, it's just the way it is. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, we're counting up the votes, and we'll let you know who wins. We're just trying to have some fun with this. It's the end of the year. It's kind of like a look back. Think of it as, you know, the Spotify Wrapped kind of thing, you know, for the year, right? You get your your say, right? You know, and we're trying to do this type of stuff. This way everybody can kind of chime in. Andrew is getting upset. So guys, do me a favor, put some nice comments in. Because you know what also what I hear, you know, it's the loud minority. Sometimes you'll find that, you know, the people who comment are the people who are in the minority. The folks in the majority that are happy, that are listening to us right now, thousands of people who are going to hear this when we put it out there, they don't comment. They don't come in because, you know, they don't have, they're just here to listen. They're a hobby participant. They're not going to be a big mouth. They're not looking to take a shot at anyone or anything. So here's my ask. If you listen to this and you're a fan of Andrew, maybe you tried a kombucha one time in the last 2.5 years because this weirdo told you to.
It's not about me.
Come on in. So when I say a fan of Andrew, I mean it broadly as a fan of hobby optimism, as a fan of somebody who wants the hobby to be a kinder, gentler place, some place where we can all learn and grow together. That's the Andrew. That's Hobby Andrew. If you are a fan of Hobby Andrew, come on in to the awards, vote for your right person, and put a little hobby positivity, put a little positive spin on it. Put in there, you know, hey, my favorite vlogger is you know, one of the 12 people that we gave you to vote for, and say, and by the way, Andrew, love you. The facial hair is looking fantastic this week.
It's not about fucking me. I'm not on those 12. My point is, if you're going to pick best hobby podcast, don't tell me the 7 that you hate. Tell me the 2 that you love and why.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. But that's not what sells. You know,
your wife, you guys are going to a nice black tie event.
We did.
She comes out with an outfit. Mm-hmm. Or she's like, hey, Cage. She calls him Cage.
She does. What should I wear? Mrs. Cage.
You shouldn't wear the red dress, the white dress, or the green dress. Those all look very unflattering on you. He would be sleeping outside, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'd be dead. I have a spoon in my eyeball.
I love how that blue dress accentuates your eyes. That's a hypothetical in the home. Same thing.
All right, guys. So listen, when you get in the comments, tell Andrew how you like how he looks in a blue dress because it complements his eyes, folks. I mean, he's got blue eyes. I mean, a blue dress would look right on Andrew.
Recap your hangover prop picks and plays.
I did okay. I did okay yesterday. I did okay. I mean, I think my props were not so good, but my plays were good. My picks were good. My 1 o'clock's better than my 4 o'clock. So I got the 8 o'clock. I definitely finished above 500 on the plays, not on the props.
You played the Chargers over Tua?
Yeah. Because remember I told you Herbert as a home underdog is undefeated.
Is that right?
Yeah. I said we were going to win actually too. He was getting 3.5 points. I said actually sprinkle some money line on the Chargers winning. You know, we had a couple of those that were like that were right. You know, Jaguars getting points, Jaguars doing good. You know, I mean there were a few that didn't work. I mean Dallas was a huge letdown. I thought Dallas was going to run all over the Texans. Interesting little fun recap for the weekend. I mean, you know, I think Jalen Hurts, even though Mahomes won, I think Jalen Hurts, you know, moved forward in the MVP race.
Clear
cut one right now. It's still, you know, still a bunch of time left in the season, and we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be buying Brock Purdy, not because I think he's terrible. I think, you know, that team is set up where a Jimmy G type quarterback, a system quarterback, can lead them pretty far. And you're seeing how great the system is and the talent. Deebo Samuel going down. Let's hope that's just an ankle and it's not so serious. Is a huge, huge loss for those guys. But why I wouldn't be buying Brock Purdy? And I talked about this, by the way, with Black Jaded Wolf in our Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged episode coming out on Wednesday, guys. It's just there's crappy products coming out now. I mean, it's certified, it's elite is the only stuff that you can get him in. So, I mean, you know, even if he's great, people are going to not want those once Prism and the other better stuff comes out. You know, they're not going to want his stuff from elite and certified. So this is exactly what you were talking about, right? Like, I could be right, but still wrong.
Well, can we talk about this? So, like, I'm curious what you guys think. So, Slab Stocks is a page, huge following. Typically, during the World Cup and the NFL, what they do is when a player does really well, they'll cherry pick two cards and they'll show this astronomical boom of like 200%, 300%. And there's nothing illegal about doing that. There really isn't. Now, my question is it deceptive and unethical, right?
No,
because
it's lazy, but it's not unethical. Go ahead.
Does it steer people wrong, right? Because it plays to me that as viewing this is it plays on the emotion of I want to get in and chase X player. So I'm gonna feel like I'm missing the boat, and I'm gonna go. And this is where you could be right and wrong. You could go and buy the right player and the wrong card.
Yep. Yes, 100% right. And it plays on your like, oh, I better go get this guy now. 100%. I put it on my story. It might still be there as the time we're recording this. I put a little cageism in there, and I said, be careful with stuff like this. It's better to be smart than purdy.
you have a knack for being able to make things. You Cage knows. Like I'm a heavy guy. Sometimes when I get pissed, I can be like pissed for for a bit, and I'm like,
yeah.
Cage adds a lot of levity to.
You gotta diffuse it, man. You know what it is? I've been here long enough to know that you can get real pissed off, and it's not gonna do anything. Did I get dark? What the hell happened there? Got a little fancy camera, and I'm a little dark. Hello. I don't know what happened.
And the reason it's frustrating for me is we just saw this play out with the whole Carlos Alcaraz thing.
Yes.
Right? So those cards, Cage, I know you're a little dark. It looks like
what happened?
You're in the mob games or whatever. You're being interviewed.
What happened?
That's an $8,000 card, down from $30,000. And these same accounts, they don't post when it's going down, right? They just post, hey, here's the shock factor, here's the FOMO, here's what happened because of X performance, and it causes this stampede of demand for cards. So that's that. We don't need to beat a dead horse. What else is top of mind before we wrap up?
I mean, listen, you're not beating a dead horse. I will tell you from a personal standpoint, I don't know anything about soccer, although I picked Croatia to win the whole thing before it started, and they're in the Final Four, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back there. But I will be the first one to admit that I thought, the Slam Stocks guys knew about soccer. And last year they did a post about a guy named Mason Mount. So I went out and bought a whole bunch of Mason Mount cards and said, this guy's going to be the next big thing because Slam Stocks know soccer, and I'm going to go buy a bunch of them. And I've been watching for him. I think he has subbed in once or twice, but he's definitely not somebody that anybody's watching, or he's not really turned into anything spectacular, and he's definitely not somebody I should have bought. So I can be the first one to admit what Andrew was saying does happen when you see those posts out there and you're like, wow, they know what they're talking about. Let me go run to buy this stuff. And now I just got a bunch of Mason Mount, which Ian likes because it's like a funny name. He said Mount. But other than that, I'm not really doing anything good with the Mason Mount horde of cards that I have. So, I mean, just to, hammer home a finer point that Andrew was making there, like I said, better to be smart than purdy.
I don't. Did you watch the World Cup?
I did, of course.
Any
I watched
thoughts?
it. Any thoughts? I don't like penalty kicks.
No,
I don't like at the end. At the end, I think I'm okay with them. During the game, I don't like it. I don't like that. I mean, the good guys. It's like free throw shooting. They're like the good guys, like 80%. And I know it doesn't always work out that way because you saw from England, right? I mean, what was his name? Harry Kane, right? He hit one and then he missed one, and that would have been a big one. But there have been a bunch of games this year where a team had a lead or it was tied, and a team that was actually scoring a real goal. I'm going to call it that. I know I'm an idiot. I know people, are going to say I'm a dummy, but a real goal got scored, and then the game got tied up, or another team came, got ahead on a penalty kick, and I'm not talking about a penalty kick like at the end of the game. I'm talking about like somebody tackled somebody. There was, one of these like borderline plays. The perfect example of it was right off the bat in Wales versus US, right? Where what was his name? Bale.
He was going away from
Gareth Bale. He wasn't even facing the net. Like, he's not going to score. He would have had to pull off like a bicycle kick or whatever it is. He wasn't even close. And they give a penalty kick, and he's going to make it. And that is a huge thing. And I know probably people watching this saying Cage don't know shit about soccer, and you're probably right. But just from a casual fan perspective, I wish there was a way to make a real goal. Like if it's a tie and one team has real goal and the other team has penalty kick goal, the team with the real goal should win or should be rewarded something. That's my take. I know it's stupid.
What Cage is saying is not all fouls in the box are created equal, right? Like if you're going in on goal and you get tackled from behind and takes away a goal scoring opportunity,
yep,
that should be a PK because
you're actually try something here with the camera. I apologize. Go ahead.
So you shouldn't. You should get a PK for that, right? Someone took away a goal scoring opportunity, but like the England versus France game, where it was just like a long ball in the box and he gets bumped off the ball. Should that be a PK? I actually endorse more PKs. So, like, you know how on corner kicks, Cage, sometimes defenders are holding the offensive player, grabbing them, not letting them jump. You know those plays?
Yeah.
I say give them PKs. But you have to admit, I'm a striker. So I hate defenders and all of the rule because there's a lot of gamesmanship in soccer. The thing about soccer, I don't know if you've watched and realize this, like, NFL and basketball and the NBA, they give you all of these moments of all of these like highlight type of moments.
Yeah.
Soccer is more like theater. It's almost like you're listening to a boring orchestra and then there's the moment and then it's the orchestra again.
I mean, it's set plays, but then I have more. What game did I watch this weekend? The Morocco goal, where the left wing kicked it from 30 yards out, and the guy got the header in, right?
Beat the goalie to the spot,
and he beat the goalie, but he also beat his defender.
Yep.
It was like watching a great catch from a wide receiver who topped the ball. He high pointed it, right, and he got to the high point, and the defenders did not, and that I love that, and I think that should be worth more than somebody who is a fake tackle, and gets a free kick at a goalie who has really no chance. If you're going to keep it the way it is, then on free kicks, what they should do is the net should have like a thing that comes down and like takes a foot away from the goal on either side, right? So how about like these like extenders, like bumper bowling? They should have the posts should come in a foot on each side and a foot on the top, and give the goalie a chance. Don't make a penalty kick goal as easy as it is. Is that so crazy? You can still have the same rules, right? But it shouldn't be so easy to score. It's not that easy to score during a regular game.
It shouldn't be that easy to score a PK.
A PK, yeah.
But Harry Kane missed one.
Yes, but prior to that, Harry Kane was 16 of 19 on penalty kicks. Yes, I watched and I remembered.
No. Is that a lot?
16 of 19 on penalty kicks? Fucking A, it's a lot. Are you kidding me? It's like, it's like a free throw. It's like shooting 80%.
Okay. I mean, Messi missed the PK.
People miss, usually not during the game, they don't miss. On the other ones, they miss. But
Lewandowski missed the PK.
Yes. Okay. He missed the PK. Steph missed a free throw. It's the same thing, right? The NBA players, it's a free throw.
A free throw is half of a basket.
Yes. And you're exactly right. The free throw is not worth as much as a basket's worth. It's worth half. It's worth 1 point. This is thank you for listening and thinking you are making an argument against me, but actually
I'm not making an argument.
Point, you're 100% right. It is the same percentage of success rate basically as a free throw. All right. And I know it's different. It's not a free throw because there's no Bol is not standing under the net trying to block it when you shoot your free throw.
The goalies are huge, aren't they?
The goalies are big, but it's still a 50-50 shot. It's still a 50-50 shot on these for the goalie. If they guess right, they guess it. If they guess right, great. And even if they guess right, if you had a good penalty kicker and they just power it home or they're able to kick it high enough, like the ones that get stopped are always the same. The goalie guesses and it's 3 to 4 feet off the ground. The goalie's doing his dive and he's able to get his hands on it. If you can corner it, if you can get in a top corner and you can put it with some mustard on it, great. You get a goalie leaning. It's a pressure situation, but most people can.
You should be able to bury that the right top right or top left corner.
But they do. The majority of penalty kicks are made. The majority of regular plays during the game are not. That's my. I mean, we beat the shit out of this. Soccer's been played this way for the longest time, but
they're not going to change it.
Of course not. But they could do the bumper bowling. They could do that.
I'm sure they're going to build
a little penalty kick and just make it a little smaller.
Just till the point that it crushes the goalie.
No, just a foot. Just a foot. Have you ever played goal? I've played goal. I've actually played goalie in different size nets before I was an injured, invalid.
Indoor or outdoor.
I played
right?
indoor soccer.
You like
I was on
indoor?
a traveling indoor soccer, and they played with like a humongous tennis ball instead of like a regular soccer ball. It's like a green ball.
It's really hard to score in indoor soccer.
I was a star in goal there. I'm like, can we use this outside? This is amazing. This is the best thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, maybe bring out the indoor goal for penalty kicks.
The soccer casual fans are fascinating. First off, I think it's hilarious how little people remember that Croatia was in the final 4 years ago, and how they're like, you remembered. It's fascinating
against France, and they're both back.
So my thoughts on the Portugal Morocco game. I'll talk about Morocco, man. Hats off to them. A lot of people will be like, well, these guys sit in and they defend. But I'll tell you, one thing that they do that's, I think, different, and one thing I learned from them is a lot of times in life we play not to lose. And this Morocco team plays to win. Now, their strategy is defense and counter. But they counter with such speed and vigor. That is cool to see. Yep. And it's cool to see a bunch of – they're obviously athletic, but they commit so many numbers on the counterattack, and it looks like this team has so much fun when they play.
But they've played together. Because it's a cohesive unit. You watch them. I watched it at the end of the game when Portugal was just trying to tie it up, and you get one run, and the next thing you know, there's four of them just darting. And the passes are crisp. There's no like send it back. There's no take time. It's we know what we're doing. Take advantage. Don't let the defense get set, and let's go get our opportunity. I know exactly what you're talking about. There was a run later in the game, 70 something minute, 80th minute,
which normally wouldn't happen with like a team that sits in. They would send one guy and just bomb, but they sent numbers.
You know who needs to watch the Morocco soccer team play?
Who's that?
Josh McDaniels.
Okay.
Play to win. Don't play not to win. Don't play not to lose. Don't go out there with that prevent defense crap and let Baker Mayfield just eat you alive. That's what happens. Go watch Morocco.
Here's my thoughts on Portugal. There was a scene early on in the game, and their coach is a little bit older, but he was like yawning. I don't know if you remember this. Like very early when the game just started.
I mean, and take a nap. I take naps. I'm old.
That was the tone of this whole Portugal team. So I loved how this Portugal team played. I would be buying João Feliz cards. I'm a big believer. I said it before this tournament. I'll say it now. Ali LaForce, who was the commentator, was talking about watching them warm up, and she said these guys were missing goal. They weren't hitting target even in warm-ups. Mm-hmm. And you saw that carried on. So this Morocco team, they'll say everything about their defense. Portugal got chances. I mean, João Feliz got 3 or 4 chances. Bruno Fernandes got 4 or 5 chances. They didn't hit target. And my opinion was the talent of Portugal, but they didn't come in crisp. They didn't come in prepared. I think they underrated the opponent a little bit, where they didn't take their chances. They didn't take their moments. They didn't hit target. They didn't make the goalie save these shots and maybe have a rebound. And that ultimately cost them. I love watching this Portugal team play. I think they have such a good balance of talent. And then one more thing.
Yeah, shoot.
It's really disappointing to see Bruno Fernandes as the leader because his body language the entire game is not – he's a great player. He's a good player. Mm-hmm. But he's not a leader. And – to me, that actually hurt the team, right? The body language, the droop in the head when there's a bad pass, all of these theatrics. Bruno Fernandes, as that team leader, as the person that they look to, was a little bit disappointing to me as someone who I like this Portugal team.
I think they missed Ronaldo in that game. And I know the coach, was probably saying I made the right move because Ramos came out and scored all those goals and, he was great in the game before it. But remember, we talked about Portugal. I liked that Ronaldo was out there, pulling deeper in, making plays. I know he was being, animated out there. But when they subbed him in, he literally had a goal chance in like the first minute. Yeah. That's the kind of pressure they would have needed to keep on them, and eventually would have gotten some scoring. And unfortunately,
a little more of a direct threat than Ramos.
For sure. They didn't have that threat in there for the first 2/3 of the game, and you're already down. And, he would have been in the beginning. You wouldn't have had as a hunkered down of a defense as Morocco was when they had a lead. So, I mean, whatever. You can always second guess and Monday morning quarterback the whole deal. Soccer's fun. We'll see. We'll see, how it ends up. We'll see who's in the finals. The Cardiac Croatians have been a lot of fun to watch and root for. I will say this, hot take, 35 minutes into the episode, guys, ready to clip this one. I would not buy anyone's soccer cards. And it's not because I don't think that they're great. I think Kylian Mbappe, who, by the way, was a friggin' ghost in this last game, didn't do anything. Like, didn't really have any shots on goal that I saw. It wasn't really
Mbappe?
active. Yeah, didn't really have any great runs. I watched the whole game, and he was
versus England.
Yeah, he was very quiet.
I mean,
so I'm about to compliment.
Triple team.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
And it made a lot of other people open, and you have to watch and realize he was taking defenders out of the play, which sometimes it's going to happen.
He created a lot of. Griezmann played phenomenal.
Griezmann had a great game, which is great because he's a card collector. But let me hammer it home. Okay. I think Mbappe's a fantastic player. I think he's an athlete like nobody else out there. You can tell he's significantly faster than anybody else out there. When he gets an opportunity, more often than not, he takes it and makes it. So, and he was the goal scoring leader last time around, won the cup, probably is the favorite to win a second one in a row, which does not happen that often. You talk about like Pele, Garrincha, Brazil teams, but he's going to be the guy, and he'll probably be the guy again in 2026, and they'll probably be favored to do it again. And that's amazing. And he's going to go out and he's going to be on a legit team now going forward. He's going to be scoring goals. He's going to be the guy. But here's the thing. I don't think people care. I don't think soccer cards are a legitimate collectible. I'm being as honest with you as I can be.
You're missing the point, though.
It's no, I'm not. You can talk about how great he is as a soccer player. He's a great soccer player, and he's fantastic. It doesn't make a difference. People will not be buying soccer cards. People will not be collecting. This is I said hot take.
They're buying them now.
They're not. They're buying them to flip them. Nobody is actually buying soccer cards. There's very few and no new ones.
No, you're so wrong on this.
Okay, well, that's good. That's why it's a hot take. That's why it's a take, and that's why we can argue about it. You don't
dabble in the soccer. You don't even watch.
Of course I do. I have played that, but that's the point, man. And no one who collects does. No one cares about soccer cards. You watch the Argentinian team watching this, right? And I watched them in Argentina, and it's a humongous millions of people out there cheering for their team to make it, right? And they're all what? What did they buy? They're all out there with their Messi jerseys. They have faith in their team. They support their team. They support their guy. Not a single one of them cares about a card or a sticker.
They're not going to be at the.
No. But they don't. But they don't. They don't own the cards. And soccer cards is something that people are trying to force on folks. And I've been saying this all along.
You're so wrong on this.
Okay,
dude.
so
let's just pause and backpedal first for just 3 seconds.
Sure.
First off, the Argentina fans are amazing. They had to add more flights. Because of how Argentina fans show up. The collector base of soccer is small but strong.
But it was more but strong before this whole run-up, and we have not gained any.
What run-up? Have you checked prices of cards?
Yes, before. I mean the overall card run-up. So my premise here is that there are people who collected soccer cards before, and they're still here. In every other sport, there are people who collected those cards before, and during this COVID run – don't talk about price run during the COVID popularity run. Let me call it that, right?
Okay.
We've added significantly more collectors, more people to the hobby. You name it. Some flippers, some investors, but collectors have come back into the hobby and they've stayed. In soccer, we've seen an increase in people who are buying soccer cards. But when it's all said and done and the dust settles, the people who are collecting soccer are going to be the exact same people who were here before. We're not adding anybody but soccer flippers, and it's impossible.
That's so false. It's actually the complete opposite of what I'm seeing.
Okay, what are you seeing? Talk about what you're seeing.
I see way more flippers in NFL and basketball than in soccer.
Yes, of course there are.
Look at the soccer prices. You could get a Pulisic.
Those are real sports. No offense to soccer.
Sure, soccer sucks. Dana White says it's boring. No one's trying to convince you that soccer is amazing.
But even if it's great, go ahead.
You could get a Christian Pulisic gold right now, second year for like $30.
Yeah, because I would use it to wipe my ass in a year. That's why you get it for $30.
Soccer market.
No, dude, because what I'm telling you, you're going to buy a Christian Pulisic gold for $30, and it will be worth $28 in 6 months. It'll be worth $23 in 6 months.
I just want to buy Christian Pulisic cards.
Okay, that's great. So you tell me you're buying that card because you want to hold it forever.
What do you? I'm not.
I'm asking you that question. What is your
for sure?
So you just want to keep it. You're buying that for $30 just because you want to own it.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
There's very few people who would say that right now.
I disagree.
Well, you could disagree. You'd be wrong.
About what?
About
what are we arguing?
So, dude, I made a statement. You said I was wrong. So if you don't know what we're arguing about, then you're a moron.
There are collectors in soccer.
Very few, and they were here before. And anybody who came into soccer with this increase of soccer cards and all these extra printing and all this prism and all this other junk that's out there now, people are buying it not to actually collect it and hold it. They're buying it because they want to flip it. And that I don't think soccer cards are a valid investment. I don't think soccer cards are something that anybody really wants going forward.
But they don't have to be
any more than we're here before.
If I'm a 12-year-old and I'm playing soccer, soccer is my favorite sport, I could afford my favorite player.
Yes, but soccer fans and soccer people don't buy soccer cards. So this is an easy premise. Soccer cards are something that were forced on people, like Marvel PMGs.
That's such a preposterous take. It's crazy that they were forced on people.
Only preposterous.
Who forced it on people?
Influencers.
Which influencers?
All of them. Anybody who ever posted a soccer card.
Gunnar has never forced anybody anything.
He was here before. He's a perfect example of making my point.
I love soccer. I've been buying soccer.
Now name other Gunners who came in after this run up, who are staying here and showing
sports cards,
who was here before. None of them are people who you've seen.
You're saying there's no new collectors.
Correct. Nobody new.
Because they don't have social media profiles that you can point to.
No, because there's nobody who is. There's just nobody. There are soccer collectors were here before. Soccer buyers now are people who are looking to capitalize on soccer cards going up in value and looking to flip. Because
I don't see any flip. I mean, there's always flipping, but I don't see any flipping in soccer, even compared to basketball and football.
And that's going to make it even worse. People are just going to exit.
Why? There's just people who like soccer and want to buy their favorite player. Cage,
I would love guys.
I could buy a Luka Modric silver.
You don't get it.
$6.
Yes, you can. Are you?
I am.
Okay. And what are you planning on doing with Luka's silver $6?
Luka Modric? Yeah. I'm just stashing.
Stashing it for what?
I just want to buy cards of my favorite players.
Okay.
Cards I like.
To keep forever. That's your collection. You're never going to try on whatnot to sell that Luka Modric in a mystery pack for $12, but you bought for $6.
I don't do
I'm asking.
I did probably 10 mystery pack sessions. I wanted to learn. I learned by doing. You guys know that. 9 of them I lost money. I'm like, this is not that fun. I don't believe that people can make money on this. Maybe some do if you have big accounts, but like this is not fun. I'm not going to do mystery packs. But I wanted to.
Is your answer yes? You're going to buy it for $6 and keep it?
Yeah.
Forever? Okay.
Can I just say between forever and hey, like I could hold this till I'm 40. I mean,
that's forever. But more than a year is forever.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Great. Then the hobby has added you as a soccer collector. I don't know many others. Whereas in the other sports, yes, you're right. There are more flippers. There are more people who are come and gone, but they're also significant.
How many hockey collectors do you know?
A lot. But hockey didn't add a lot of flipping during this time period. Soccer did, and the soccer prices ran, and now they're getting crushed. The hockey prices didn't see the same messy run-up, the same mega cracks on crack. They didn't see all that stuff. Soccer did.
Messi and Ronaldo ran. And
almost all of them. Mbappe did. Almost everything did, man.
Yeah,
the prism stuff, the shiny stuff.
Sadio Mane rookie.
Correct, and I have some. I don't know who the hell he is. Awesome. But yeah, okay.
You could get a Mo Salah rookie.
And I can buy Moses Malone cards. 100%. I get it. That's not the point. The point is soccer and hockey are very, very different. Hockey's gone through an organic growth period during this time and hasn't seen anybody come in and say, you got to run and buy Mason Greenwood cards. Look at all these cards. Myself included, I bought a friggin' ton of Mason Greenwoods to try to sell them more. But I was never buying soccer cards because I'm going to be a soccer collector for life.
Maybe I missed the whole soccer flip. But I think now is when soccer is actually adding the true collectors that you're talking about with hockey.
Maybe, but it hasn't happened. And I don't think it does happen. I think when the World Cup ends, people don't give a shit about soccer anymore. And I think it's going to be even worse.
But there will be another World Cup in 4 years.
That's very different in 4 years. And I think within the next 4 years, you're going to lose a lot of people who are putting money in soccer.
But that's going to reward the collectors who don't leave.
Maybe.
Why can't we think in 4-year cycles anymore?
Let me ask you something. The fact that you would say it like that means that you're actually either lying or don't get it. No one wants to reward collectors. The reward to collectors is that they get the cards that they want to collect. Why do we need to reward collectors?
That's the reward.
When you mean it, the reward to collectors is that when the next World Cup happens, their cards are worth more.
You're missing the point.
Then what's the reward?
Reward for collectors is that people leave, they sell their cards, prices drop, and I'm able to get really cool. I could get a Pirlo auto.
But you can get that now. You said
You
said the real collectors will be rewarded when the World Cup happens.
This is the reward if you let me finish.
But that's different. You're changing it now because you
can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said people are going to leave between this World Cup and next World Cup. When people leave, what does leaving mean? It means they sell off their assets. So you're the ones that they wanted to flip. So you're able to get awesome cards for cheap. That's the reward for collectors. I could get a Pirlo card, Pirlo auto, really nice Pirlo auto with a patch for like $150. That's a cool card. I love Pirlo. Guy's hilarious. The most interesting man in the world. You could get all these really cool cards if you know soccer, you know the lineage of soccer, the heritage, the history of soccer for cheap. That's a reward.
I like that reward. And the collectors who were here before that were able to hold on and not buy that run up and not lose money and not get crazy in it when people came in inorganically, they can now buy their stuff again for the price they would have been without the puppy dumpy.
Yep.
The only problem is, and I'd love to see the comments. I'll actually look at the comments in the YouTube one on this one.
Oh, thank you so much.
If you're a soccer collector, if you're somebody who came in the last year or two, and you're planning on staying, put that in the comments. Let me know, because I haven't heard from too many of them. I don't know too many of them. And instead, what I saw in the last couple of years was everybody saying the same thing, which is, I'm going to buy this because the World Cup's coming. And I'm going to hang on to this guy because when the World Cup's coming, everyone's going to be looking at soccer, and it'll be a money making. That'll be the reward. I could buy it now and I could sell it when the World Cup's here and everybody's talking about soccer. I'm going to buy my Pulisic cards, and when he's Captain America and he goes out there and wins a game, I'm going to sell my Pulisic cards. That's what everybody thought. It didn't actually happen that way.
The issue with that was the World Cup was timed with maybe the worst hobby market in 2-3 years. So it didn't have enough demand. There was all of this supply. There's a ton of cards. There's not enough soccer collectors. So no matter even who performed, prices were going down. Okay. But it added me as this World Cup reminded me how much I love soccer. And you knew I was kind of off soccer for a little because it was like my past love. You know, maybe it's time to move on. I've remembered how much I love soccer. And I'm like, okay, well, there's all these people that collect minor league prospects in baseball, right?
Yep.
I know soccer. I don't know baseball. Maybe this could be my thing.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a college soccer player, and you've been added to the ranks of soccer collectors, which proves me wrong. There is at least one. What I would tell you as a soccer collector is what I was saying to you, what I was saying about my hot take does not apply to you. If you plan on keeping your Luka Modric cards for $6 for a silver, or buying your autographs, just like I bought a George Gervin gold logo man, whatever it is, for $100, I don't care if that goes to $70. If you're planning on buying that Luka Modric and it goes to $5 or $4 and you don't care because you just want to own it, I'm not talking about you. What I'm saying is that these cards, the vast majority, especially the ones that have been released in the last couple of years, they don't have an actual investment future. And if you're a collector, that's fine because you don't care about their investment future. You just want to own the cards. And I'm okay with that. I think part of the problem is that there's going to be a lack of collectability for so much of this stuff. And there's so few collectors with so many different cards that you can possibly collect of Luka Modric or of any of these guys. Even a friggin' Pele auto. There was a National Pride Pele auto in yesterday's PWCC auction that sold for less than auto.
Was that a Leaf one?
Yeah.
People don't trust the Leaf auto.
I know, but it's another example of a soccer card of a great that's out there.
We don't want sticker autos, though.
I get that. But what I'm saying is that over the last couple of years, we've seen a proliferation, even of bad stuff, medium stuff, good stuff. There's a price point for everybody. And when you have that, it's very difficult for stuff to grow, right? The reason why the Pele stuff sold, and it's coming down, but the reason why it sold for such a crazy price is because soccer cards were never thought of as a legitimate, like, we're going to collect this, we're going to invest in this. It took a while of price discovery. You are very good at explaining this stuff. For which Pele card was the one that people were going to chase, and the other ones got beat down to hell, right? And we like certain ones and the whole deal. There just wasn't a history. There wasn't a story. And now we've gone the exact opposite direction. we've seen a slight increase in fan base and in collector base, and we've seen just a humongous glut of supply. To me, that's scary.
But if we go that route, there's like 17 cards that have collectability.
Yes. But in other sports, the fan bases are...
It doesn't even matter sport. It's just Mantle.
No,
Ruth.
That's not true.
What are you talking about? That's the card everyone wants. Like, if we're just really talking about collectability, everyone just wants that Mantle.
No, but I believe that when football and soccer, and remember, we're talking about like
no track record of collectability.
Having collections that you can buy and hold over time. You know, you talk about something with like football. All right, you could buy something this year that next year might have some value. You can buy Kyler Murray hoping that next year he has some value, and maybe you're holding on to it for a year or two. You can buy those guys because football card collecting now has a many year not 2 years. It's not something. It was something that was done before the bubble, not the way it is done now. But football's also significantly growing. There's a season every year. There's not just World
Football's
Cup.
in for a world of hurt, because when all of these RPAs of non-game worn players hit the market, all you guys are going to be running for the fences.
Maybe. For the and what's funny is if you can say that about football, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but if you say that about football, but think that soccer, without a major event for until 4 years from now, without any real American stars, which is where people collect. I mean, I know people collect outside of America, but the hobby it's a very American thing. You don't have an American drawn thing. If you think football's in more trouble than soccer in the immediate future, you have to be careful. You don't have to worry about it because you want to be a collector, and that's fine. You'll be rewarded by lower prices. But if there are people out there who are buying recent soccer cards, hoping that they can flip those, hoping that they're going to be a viable collectible over the next couple of years, I'm fearful for those folks.
You didn't even touch on the biggest headwind, and I actually thought about this, and I agree with it from one perspective. And this might be controversial, but this is just true.
Hey now.
Soccer is a poor person's sport, and collecting cards or investing cards is a rich person's sport. Now, obviously, those are tongue-in-cheek, but those are actually facts. Soccer is a poor person's sport. If you look at the countries and the players that typically come out, they come out of the favelas. You know? You guys know what the favelas are?
Yeah, so, they all the time in the Fast and Furious movies, they're running through them. The Rock is like breaking people's houses in the favelas. I mean, it's just like, oh, crazy.
So whereas buying cards, it's like it's usually a disposable income thing, right? Yeah. So people who are trying to just make it out aren't like, hey, let me get a piece of cardboard of Messi. It's like, let me just watch Messi play. And
I understand. I get it. And it's valid. I mean, these guys, the fans do find a way to support, but I don't think that they've been, I don't call it trained to buy cards of their guy. You know, I mean, you're a baseball fan, you buy the jersey, you watch the games, you buy your favorite player's card. In soccer loving countries, they buy the jersey, they go all out and they cheer for their team. They watch the games, but buying the card, it's not been part of it. Buying stickers in a lot of European countries especially has been part of it, but you've seen like a one-of-one sticker stuck in the book, right? You know, the South Korean player, because that's what you do. You stick it in a book. You don't put it in a plastic slab and try to sell it for more money than you bought it for last week. So it's a little bit of a different kind of, cultural thing.
Well, and it's blending, right? So now Germany, you see all the B Brothers story. Germany's starting to have a collector base of card enthusiasts, and they've traditionally had a good soccer team. England, you're starting to see a little bit more collectability in the UK for sports cards. So it's like it's catching on. Collecting cards was traditionally a North American USA thing.
Yeah.
Soccer was traditionally a world thing without USA in it.
Correct.
So it's the blending, and maybe it's a 10, 20-year thing, and maybe it's not a great investment.
I think you've ended on the correct sentence.
Do you want to end that podcast there?
No, but maybe it's not a great investment. Listen, I don't know everything, and I'm not right about everything. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have the ability to see the future. I just would say that I'm nervous about the proliferation of soccer cards without a real collector base to kind of support it. I know there are collectors. I love Gunnar. He's the best, and I'm sure he's going to be out there finding treasures. that he otherwise thought were going to run up on him that, you know, that he can now buy because they've come back into his price range. I'm sure there's plenty of other people like him who have been here for a while and now are, you know, are legit collectors and stuff. I just don't think there's many people who are being added.
How about Pokemon? Pokemon was traditionally a table card game.
Yep.
And then it became a thing where the Zard was $260,000.
Yep.
Where those table card game players became collectors.
Yes. It was a nostalgia drawn thing combined with the crazy run up. Pokemon has gotten the crap beat out of it recently. But what happens, of course, is Pokemon is continuously replenishing itself in the mind of children. Take it from someone who has a 9-year-old who had to go see the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu, and watches 9 different forms of Pokemon journeys and Pokemon stuff on Netflix. It is legitimately always there. They have a new card release all the time with new shiny stuff that I can't even pronounce half these things. You saw it. He gave you a Jamarant, but his name was Cramorant. Remember, you loved it. And and so Pokemon's just a huge world brand. I know soccer is also, but it's always been a card. But what Pokemon had going for it, and if you want to say you want to compare soccer cards to Pokemon, I'm okay with that. But what Pokemon needed was 20 years for the kids who were playing it in the 90s as kids to remember playing it in the 90s as kids. Now they're 30-somethings, and they had to go out with the money they were making and buy a Squirtle and buy a Charmander. You know, guys yourself who are huge Squirtle fans. We were in group chats with them. They remembered Squirtle when they were kids, and now they had enough money, they're going to go back and buy the Squirtle. So is it possible that in 20 years, when the World Cup comes back, there are people who...
a gift for his girlfriend.
Maybe. But there'll be people who have reminisce going and watching the World Cup and Christian Pulisic, you know, becoming Captain America here and having a great World Cup in 2022/2026. And in 2045... they're going back and buying these cards because, yeah, they remember it. And they remember when Prism was making World Cup cards, and these are cool cards, and it's Mbappe, and he was the best. And they go back and get them, and they could be viable, you know, assets then, sure, especially if card collecting is grown. Fanatics by then has actually done their thing, sure. You want to compare it to Pokemon? It took that long for Pokemon to become a mainstream thing that people blew up.
Do you remember Panini Treble? Have you seen that release?
No. Treble
for soccer. It's a beautiful
like the troublemakers.
It looks like a little PMG-esque. It's like so that's a super clean card. What happens in times like this is people trim the fat, like you said. What if you could get some really cool cards? Like in 2045, when let's just assume that's the date when when soccer takes off, maybe now is when you get the Pele rookie and a PSA 8, and you don't see another one for 20 years.
Sure. And the only people who will be doing that are people who are looking to buy that card, whether it's going to be great, whether it's not, and hopefully they hang on to it. And it will be worth more. A true collector, though, in 2045 might not want to sell it. Who the hell knows? And that's the real.
It might be dead.
But that's the real key, right? That's part of the reason why some of these things run up when there is a run. You know, the Pokemon cards didn't just go from $10 to $100 overnight. They went from $10 to $100 because the people who bought them for 10 weren't willing to sell them for 20, 30, 40, and 50. There has to be that scarcity. There has to be more demand than the supply out there. And the people who are holding them have to be willing to be such a collector that we say price doesn't matter until the price gets to so much that you're like, you know what? Okay, now price matters, you know? And that's what you see. And right now with so much cards that are out there and so, you know, so many printed, it's hard to see that happening without some real shift, especially in soccer. That's my fear on it. I like soccer. I've enjoyed this World Cup tremendously. I may actually start watching, you know, soccer with Ian. You know, maybe pick a team, a club team to kind of watch and, you know, and follow. Maybe pick a guy to follow. Maybe buy some stuff, and just put it aside, but not care if it goes down, up, or whatever. I was a Mason Greenwood fan. I obviously don't own any more Mason Greenwood cards after his craziness. But yeah, that was somebody. I mean, I usually pick somebody. You know what? He's got to cut his hair. You don't like the cut? No. I mean, he's fast.
You're a clean cut guy?
You know what he looks like to me? He's a lot of flash. He's a lot of like he's like a hibachi chef. You know, there's a lot of like, you know, stuff there, but the gourmet is not going to happen. Like, he's fast. He can take it from midfield up. He can create something, but I don't think he's a finisher. So he reminds me of a hibachi chef, you know? No offense,
I would go on, but I'm just tired of talking to soccer with Cage. That's what he does. He wears you down. He is.
Well, it's an hour. I would wear anybody down in an hour. I don't know how you last as long as you do.
Start collecting sumo wrestling cards.
It's a great idea. You know how they do their autographs? They just smash their hand down. It's like a whole hand. It's a good time. Take care, everybody.
Easy to frame.
All for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.